You will never make a single dollar from YouTube automation. You see all these creators flashing screenshots, win, and think it's a passive money printer. But you're walking straight into a trap that will waste months of your life. I know the demand for content is higher than ever, but manual video editing is a massive bottleneck. You can't out edit a machine. You're constantly stressed about deadlines, burnt out from clicking the same button over and over, and frustrated that your creative energy is being wasted on robotic tasks. It is fundamentally wrong for a creator and developer to waste human intellect on tasks that a few lines of code could handle in seconds. The few channels actually winning aren't using push button softwares. They are treating AI like a raw assistant, not a boss. They inject human storytelling and unique visuals edit so the algorithm actually pushes it to millions. So let's talk about today how you can do the same. This is a end-to-end automation for your video editing task. I'm going to explain it to you how it works, and then I will take you through exactly step by step how you can build it on end-to-end. Right. The first step is you can connect your Google Drive with your end-to-end, where you can choose a folder which triggers every single time when you upload a new video there. For me, I just type a script and then read it in front of a teleprompter and then upload it to the Google Drive. Once it is uploaded, the end-to-end flow actually is very easily going to download it from the Google Drive with the help of our APIs. Once that's done, we will trigger a remove silence, so all the silences in the video will be removed. After that, we will be generating some captions with the SRT file, which will be passed to an AI model to understand which part of the videos will be good enough to actually add zooms in and zooms out. Once that's done, we will pass it to another API endpoint of Erenol, where we can add zoom in and zoom out to the previously generated AI generated segments. After that, we will again call the captions API just to make sure that the caption is born on top of the video, which has zooms in and zooms out. Otherwise, it will be cut from the sides and it doesn't look good. After that, we will enhance the video audio quality, basically the audio attached to the video, so that it sounds like a podcast. After that, we will generate the B-roll for each section of the video. Once the B-roll images are generated with AI, what we will do is we will pass on these images to Erenol API again to overlap these images on top of our video. Once done, we will add a background music, and then after adding a background music, we will just render the final video and upload it to the YouTube. Now, this is the whole end-to-end flow looks like. So let me explain to you how you can create it on end-to-end. Okay, so the automation starts from a very simple stage here, which is a Google Drive node. You add a Google Drive node here simply, and then you can pull the new uploads from that Google Drive in every hour or every minute, whatever time you think is better option for you. You can also select which folder you want to pull it off from, so that you can define which folder where you are going to upload the raw file. Once this happens, this passes on a URL of the uploaded video. So let's say, for example, if I click on execute, so now it's the whole flow is executing. As you can see, it's there. So while it is executing, I'm gonna show you what it's doing. So the first step is it removes the silence. Now, what happens at the remove silence bit? So as you can see from the Google Drive bit, it fetches all these details, but in the JSON or the payload file, it passes the web content link, which is web content link. So that's the one which we pass here. And then we say that the silence threshold dB is -30 and main silence duration is 0.5. This is the remove silence API from Iranol. So if you go on iranol.com and documentation, you will see that the silence removal API is here. So this is the API, this is the post method, and this is the request body. So that is exactly what we are doing here. The moment this node is executed, it creates a job ID here, as you can see. Once the job ID is created, we introduce a wait node here and then pass it on to another job status ID, which is basically, if you go on neural.com and click on status here in the general, you will see it's a get endpoint with the job ID and then. So that is what exactly we are doing. It's a get endpoint for the status of the job ID, and we use the same Iranol credentials. How you can add this credential? Well, you can literally say generic credential type in the first drop down, header auth in the second, and then just create the X API key and value of the API key. Where do you get the API key? Let me log it into. So you can get your API keys from here. Just create an API key and then copy it from here, and it should be here. That's how you create it. And then what it does, it sends a request and to the API endpoint and say, is this remove silence job completed or not? Once it is completed, it gets you a file here, which you can see here.
Microsoft, Alphabet, Meta, and Amazon are fueling a $1 trillion data center boom.
So as you can see, it has removed all the silences. So next step is, once it has removed all the silences, we put a check here in the remove silence switch, where it says if it is failed, if it is completed, or if it is not completed. If it's completed, it goes to the second flow, which is generating captions. Now what's happening here is exactly same. We are generating captions from the captions API. So if I go to captions API, you see the captions URL here and the request body here. So we just copied it here, and same credentials, captions API, and then as you can see here, we copied the result URL from the previous remove silence, and then we've just provided English language, top, 120 font size, font color white. You can always change the font color to blue or whatever color you want it, padding top, and so let me say black, and then that's it. Once it goes into the loop, it again generate a job ID, and then we will just add the wait loop and then status check for the captions API. And as you can see, it is still burning the caption into the video, but it is fairly clear. It's following the same sequence one by one so that you can see it. And once the caption is generated, as you can see, I have split it into two parts after the switch. One is going directly to the merge option, and another one is going to download the SRT. The reason I'm done it, because if you see here, once the captions are generated, it creates this URL of the media file with this app captions on the top, right? But it also creates this SRT file, and we require it because what we are doing is we are sending this SRT file into this bottom flow, where we are downloading this SRT file by just simply get request, and then once it is downloaded, we are sending it to the AI agent here saying, you're a social media expert, here's the SRT file. We have an API which helps us add zoom in and zoom out in the video, but we need to provide it in this format. Can you generate it? And that's what it does. It actually gets us this result. So once this is done, we provide this output into a JavaScript code here, which actually just removes the \n and all the problematic content from the AI, right? And it creates this very clean. And then once it is done, we merge both of them. And then this is how the output looks like. The first one is the first bit from the captions API with the SRT URL, as you can see here. And the second bit is the segments where we want to add the zooms. So once this is done, what we do is exactly same what we did with captions. We go back to our API documentation here. And then what we have to do is we have to just search for zoom. What does this API do is it adds zooms into your video. So you just pass the URL and then the segments where you want the zoom to be added, right? So we come back, this is the zoom API, and then again, same credentials. And in the payload, you see we are not providing the URL of the last captions generated file. We are providing the URL from the remove silence switch, and that's because we don't want the zoom added on top of the captions. We want it to be added on the plain silenced video, and then we provide the segment, which is basically this, where the zooms will be added, and then how much is the zoom level. What it does, it creates a job for us, and then it goes through the same loop again, waiting and sending the HTTP request, and then checking if it is passed or failed. So once we see that it's passed, it's completed, it will generate this output, which we can copy clearly from here and see. So now you can see the video is playing, and now it's gonna add zoom. There you go, there is a zoom, but there's no caption anymore here, right? So that's the beauty of it. So that's, once the zoom is done, what we are going to do is we are going to generate captions again. This is the same workflow copy pasted here. We are just providing the URL of the recent file, which is a zoomed in file, and then we will provide, you know, the font color and everything. So the previous caption generation was just for the SRT file. So once this is done, that's where the magic starts, because now after this workflow, we will be generating some images here to add as a B-roll. So let me pause here. Once it is done, I'll take you to the next step. Okay, so it's done, and as you can see, we have a new URL where the zoom in and captions both are burned. So if I open, if I open the URL from here, result in another tab, there you go. You have the fonts of the caption here, and then there is a zoom in, there you go, and the fonts also look pretty good, right? So that's where we are. So once it is done, what we are doing is we are passing this information to this subflow. Now this subflow, in order to open this, I have to go out of here. So I'm going to open it another tab here, and then say image generation. So what's happening in image generation? What's happening is from the parent flow, we are sending this piece of information, which is the URL of the generated file and the SRT file into the subflow. And what it is doing is it is getting the SRT file here, downloading it, and then sending this information to the AI. What it does is it says, you are award-winning creative, below is the video script. Your task is not to summarize this script. Your task is to create a sequence of highly engaging editorial illustrations. And then we provide the image generation prompt, and then visual style and important rules. And then after that, we just ask, okay, which image has which prompt, and then when this image will be burned on top of the video as B-roll, and what's the end time for the image. And that's pretty much it. So what it does, it actually creates this code for us, this prompts for all these images. And then what we do is we get all these prompts and then parse it through the code that creates an array of object which actually has multiple prompts to generate multiple images. And once the image is generated through this loop, it just exits. So I cannot show it to you right now, but what I could do is I could go to the execution part and then show you the outputs for it. So for example, here the input was this, and then in the HTTP request, you can see from this input we downloaded the SRT file, and it looks like this. And then here what we did is we forwarded this SRT file data here, and then what it did is it's created the prompt for different images. And then once this output is parsed through this code, it actually created small prompts for each image's start time and end time. So basically we know what is going where. And then we passed it through a loop, which is basically going through each of these prompts, taking it to our image generation API. And then after that, we generate the API, store it in our Supabase, upload image or anywhere else you want. Then in the code, what we do is we parse through it, add the image into the object, and then pass it to the next node. And then finally, we have 11 objects here, right? Okay, so after the image is generated, we pass that through a code snippet here, which actually transforms the image URLs and the start and end time and the prompt into overlay object, array of object basically, which kind of like a partial payload for the next stage. So that's why this code snippet is important here. Once that's done, we will pass it on to the next API, which is video overlay API. The payload looks very simple. The URL comes from the previous node, and then we will pass the overlay. So let me just bring this. So it's straightforward. We just literally pass on it in a stringify manner, and then it does the deal. Once we pass this information to the overlay API, it generates the job ID for us. Again, the same process. Job ID generated, we wait for a while, and then we test the job status. As you can see, it is completed now. And then once it's completed, we have the switch which tells us that if it is failed or not, etc. And then obviously, because it is passed it to background music. Again, it generates a job ID. Again, we wait for a while, check the status of the job. Obviously, if the status is completed, then we go to the switch. Again, it is done, and then this is the final URL of the job here. Perfect. So I am going to play this. Here you go. We have jumps, we have captions, we have background music here, we have images as B-roll on top of the video, and this is how you can reduce 90% of your editing task with the help of this amazing end-to-end workflow. So if you want to have access to this workflow, comment below YouTube automation, and then I'll be able to share this workflow with you. If you have any other questions, let me know. Peace up.